Well, welcome to Rural Strong Live, today presented by Fastline.com and by Economics by Nutrien. You'll hear more about them later on in the show, but today's special guest helped capture the attention and the imagination of the agriculture industry in 2022 when his company RYSE Aero Technologies unveiled the RYSE Recon, a manned ultralight that has been billed as a flying ATV. It could have many practical uses on the farm, and that has the industry buzzing. Mick Kowitz, welcome into Rural Strong Live.
Hey Brent, nice to be here.
Hey, good to have you. How have you been since we last spoke?
Well, crazy. I've been crazy. It's been a whirlwind, and it's been amazing the response to the company, to the vehicle, and we're just enjoying it, having fun, and building vehicles now.
Well, it's exciting to have you on the show. I very much enjoyed our chat last September at the Farm Progress Show in Boone, Iowa. And the video I shared from there, which you just saw a clip of here to open the show, was one of the most viewed pieces of content that Rural Strong Media has ever put out there. And that tells me there's some different interest in this. For the folks who are unfamiliar, can you give us a brief history of why RYSE Aero Technologies was formed and how the Recon came to be?
Yeah, I mean, we formed probably in the middle of 2021, amid the pandemic, with really the idea to bring flight to everybody and to even more refined to bring flight to people who have a purpose. And, with an ultralight aircraft, our goal was to pick something in the unregulated space. And the ultralight's perfect. You can fly them over the beach. And we thought, this is great, but what can we do with it? And as we started investigating communities, the agriculture community, farmers, ranchers, vineyard operators, orchard owners, they became the logical first choice to actually lean into this technology. And really, so we've been in the last year and a half or so, we've been building this technology. We obviously flew it in Boone. We flew it at a bunch of different shows: the Ohio State Farm Science Review, Sunbelt Ag down in Georgia, and we just recently got back from the Consumer Electronics Show where we flew, I think, 40 times during the show, and we just made a lot of progress. It's been crazy, but really fantastic.
Well, before we go any further, people saw the video, they saw what this is like here, but I want to get into the technology of this for our followers, if you don't mind, just kind of explaining some of the particulars about kind of range and just some of the practical facts that folks might want to know about it.
Yeah, so it weighs about 255 pounds, 280 with the flotation, so it can land and take off from water. The payload is really we level set the payload at 250 pounds. It can carry a 300-pound occupant, but at 250 pounds, it can go about 25 minutes or about 10 miles out, 10 miles back, and 63 miles an hour is the maximum speed allowed under the ultralight specifications. You can fly it pretty much over any agricultural setting, just not over congested areas. So not over cities or stadiums, or really just not over people in general. But you can fly it in any farm or ag setting. It doesn't have to be your land; it can be over any land. So if you've got to cross, somebody else's property, you're allowed legally to do that with the aircraft.
So I want to walk through a couple of the terms that have been used in your marketing materials, just so our followers and I can have a better understanding. I want to start out talking about simplified vehicle operation systems.
Yeah, so that's an FAA term. They're actually finalizing the full specification of that for air taxis. We leaned into it because really farmers are perfect for it. You have two sticks. You've got your left and your right stick, and your left stick is your heave, so it's up and down, and your right stick is forward, backwards, moving to each side, and then there's a thumb wheel to spin you around. So it works very much like any Caterpillar backhoe system would operate. But you don't have to worry about stability. If a big gust of wind comes, the vehicle will stabilize for you. It maintains everything, so you don't have to do a lot. As the operator, we don't want you to have to understand aerodynamics. We do walk you through safety features. It is 6 independent propulsion modules, so they're actually powering at different, very precise and hundreds of milliseconds timing in order to keep you stabilized. But you don't need to worry about anything. But if a motor goes out, you can still fly the vehicle. In fact, if two go out, you'll list and you can come down, but they're independent systems. So the likelihood of it just falling out of the sky would be almost zero. Doesn't mean it wouldn't happen, but it's very unlikely that it could happen in the vehicle.
And I'm sure one of the most common questions you're asked is about battery life and what the company describes as enhanced battery pack capacity.
Yeah, so the battery packs are designed as removable, rechargeable battery systems. And the idea is they actually support in the flotation component of the vehicle to float on water, but you can pull them out, and each pack operates independent with its own battery management system that we've developed and designed. So the system and the enhanced component of the system is that while all the batteries are independent of each other, they are all connected together on a high voltage bus. So say a battery breaks or falls out of the vehicle for some reason, it will not stop the system from working. They balance each other to gain the most efficiency when you're flying, and they actually help each other out when one motor is working harder with the other, and keeps everybody at the same level, so you're getting the best benefit out of the batteries as possible.
And I know this thing could be a real game changer for the agriculture industry. Before we go any further, I want to share another video, and I want people who are watching to put yourself in the seat of this thing and kind of imagine what it might do for you on your farm or ranch. And as we look at that, obviously he's buzzing out to go check out some equipment, but your mind starts to go to some of these things like cattle ranchers on a vast expanse of land there with a lot of cattle, to go check on cattle or to scout crops or spot spray. There's any number of options there, isn't there?
There really are. One of the things we talked to, so that farm where that shot, we actually do a lot of our test flying out there. It's a 3,000 acre farm. He has it in two separate groups, and the video doesn't completely demonstrate. We filmed that video on I think it was like 12 degrees outside with 20-mile-an-hour winds. It was freezing cold when we filmed it, and so the vehicle is really stable and flies really well. But his farm, he has a lower farm and then an upper farm with another farmer between him. And for him to be able to move around to get to his upper fields, he's got to drive quite a bit to get to the upper fields. With the Recon, he can actually fly up over the other guy's farm to get to his upper fields. And it's really a time savings for him. It's convenience as much as anything to be able to get the fixed equipment, because his big barn is down below and he just has a staging or housing barn up above. And so the purpose for him is moving between fields. But he also, in the spring, he's really excited to be able to use it during the wet season. Ohio, when you plant your crops, the wet season, he has to walk to everything. And so to be able to get out to areas where he has a blight or where he wants to check out, especially over by the interstate where his crops run up to, he has a lot of problems out there. And to be able to fly out there instead of walk it, it's almost a mile and a half out. And he's like, the savings is just unbelievable. And the convenience for him is great from that perspective.
And I'm seeing a lot of people jumping on here. So thank you to everybody who's joining us. I see Eric Reed on here saying, hey, this thing would be great for spraying corn. Of course, he's a prolific corn and cotton grower down in Tennessee and in Alabama. This would be ideal for those settings.
Yeah, I think absolutely. Well, and talking about corn crops when it gets dry, right? And you got to get out to the irrigation system, being able to fly over everything and just land down there instead of trying to walk out to the center of that irrigation system. We've actually looked, and in most irrigation systems, it will actually fit perfectly in the center area of the irrigation system. So it's a nice, clean, easy fit.
And you touched on this a bit earlier, but because this is classified as an ultralight, no pilot's license is required, meaning the proper instruction, anybody can operate the Recon as much as they would like a ATV or a UTV that rolls on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. In our training, I've trained people to fly it in 15 minutes and, without a lot of headache. And, we typically take people in taxi mode first. So there's really two flight modes, taxi mode and flight mode. And taxi mode, when you're about 10 to 15 feet off the ground, if you give it full throttle, it's not taking you full throttle. It's going to move very slowly and cleanly. When you get up above that limit and get up in the 25 foot, you now can lean in and start getting up to the higher speeds. So we give you this period of time to adjust to flying it. But just like an ATV, when you hop on an ATV or even in a side by side, once you get comfortable with those controls, it becomes second nature. You can fly pretty easily.
Well, you talk about being at Farm Progress Show and Farm Science Review, Sunbelt. What you had a chance to gauge the reaction of the agriculture industry. What was your takeaway from that experience?
Well, I mean, the thing I personally, I love meeting with real people in any community. But one of the things I've said all the time is farmers are kind of underrated. Anybody in ag is underrated. And when we brought this technology into the world, so to speak, when we birthed it, I talked to a lot of bankers on the east and west coast, on the left and the right coast, if you will. And a lot of them have a view in agriculture and farming that is incorrect. They believe that farmers aren't using technology. And when you start explaining to them, first people to use high definition satellite imagery, first people to use autonomous, semi-autonomous, people doing more in biotechnology and biofarming than you can even imagine, chemical engineering that goes into it all. And when you talk about ag science and what goes on at schools like Ohio State and Michigan State, and I don't want to leave out any other state, where there's a lot of high tech going on in the farming world, it's the perfect environment to bring this technology because farmers will find a way to make it useful, valuable. And I think that, it just confirmed that, Brent, when we went out to these shows. It confirmed the ideas and the things people said, and just their process for weighing the economics and the time savings and the value to their business and people in their communities. I think that it just shows you that agriculture is probably one of the most sophisticated businesses in the world. What other industry touches every consumer 3 times a day, every day of the year? And I say that to your Harvard bankers, and they're like, they don't get that this is where this technology is going to be birthed and grown and taken to the next level. What the attachments, the add-ons, to be able to use it for things associated with identifying different scanning and high definition imagery and topography, and really looking at yield and sillage with this vehicle. You're going to be able to do a lot that, while you can do some of these things with the drone, to be able to be there and see it with your own eyes while you're scanning, that will be of huge value. But then to actually be able to land, that's what the farming community understands. They understand the added value, that it's not just a drone that's big, it's something that can help you get a job done for people who, you realize when you meet with them all, they're out there getting the job done. So it was so awesome. What a blessing to meet with everybody, and to be able to hear their stories and their excitement around somebody bringing something to farming that is innovative before anybody else in the world is going to get to play with it. It was kind of fun and cool.
Well, you talk about that technology, and earlier you mentioned the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and to me that's a really big deal because I've watched the major players like John Deere make a big deal about being kind of the representative for the agriculture industry in technology, and they had a couple of big product rollouts, and they have gradually increased their involvement in it. So to be kind of in that same sphere with long-term players in the agriculture, but people changing the narrative, as you say, that's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think it is. And, we were, I think, two or three booths over from John Deere. And quite honestly, I think we had more traffic than John Deere did. It was one of those shows where we're so different from everything else that's there. First, we were the first people to be allowed to fly at the Consumer Electronics Show ever. And what we had to do to get there, you'd think, well, you must climb some serious mountains. We did. We had to get the approval of CES as well as the Las Vegas Convention Center. But even more importantly, we were flying legally within FAA Class Bravo airspace, which is the busiest of airspaces. And the FAA, we worked it with them, and we were legal to fly, which tells you, they believe in the ultralight technology and believe in what we've built. We also, I don't know if anybody has seen this, but we also have a video out there. If you search on YouTube, it's our Elvis video. So to lean in to the Consumer Electronics Show, we did a little fun tongue-in-cheek where we had an Elvis impersonator fly the vehicle down the street and land. And we actually got approval from Las Vegas and the Las Vegas film community, and we flew down the Las Vegas Strip, and that was just so much fun and really cool.
Well, how about this? You don't even have to go to YouTube because I've got it right here at my fingertips, and I'm going to share it for everybody right now. Take a look at this. Ow! All right. And shout out to Matt Igleski with your crack PR team for hooking me up with that one. So we made sure we had it on cue here.
It was a lot of fun. And what's really interesting, Brent, is the Consumer Electronics Show. A lot of consumers walk in the booth and people want this. They want to get it. They're like, can I use it to go camping? Of course you can. Can I use it to go fishing? Absolutely you can. We have a little stock guy that we have on the side where you can put you can put a rifle, but you can also put a fishing pole in there, fly it out, land on a lake with this thing and fly it. We're planning on shooting some recreational videos. So people from the consumer side of it, but farmers, obviously, many are outdoorsmen and they enjoy hunting and enjoy fishing. It's a great vehicle to use, not only for your business, but also for your personal likes. And we saw that at the Consumer Electronics Show, but even the people that come in, they're like, man, I wish I had a piece of property to be able to use it. And they're looking for ways of taking it to beaches and to lakes and state parks, which is all great. But most farmers have a little pond on their own property, and they have the ability to be able to use this for whatever they want, for fun with the family. And it really is. It's more than just a vehicle to do a job. It's a vehicle to enjoy as well. And I think we saw that be embraced at the Consumer Electronics Show. But I've got a friend who's got a farm up in Deerfield, Michigan, and I know he's just can't wait to be able to get it and use it out where he goes hunting and to hang out.
Well, I'm sure a lot of folks who have been watching this are wondering what's the latest on production.
Excellent question. So we have opened up our reservation system. So if you go to ryseaerotech.com, you'll see there's a reserve button. And what that really does is it gets you in line. It's going to put farmers at the top of the list. So we're taking what people enter in there, and we're using it to help us, get the best buyer for the first 100 to 1,000 vehicles. And we've got great response so far, but a lot of it is consumer response because we really just haven't, talking with you. I'm hoping to increase our reach here to get it out there and start really driving the reservations. And we'll convert those in the next 4 months or so to orders and start taking orders for the vehicles. Our production is slated for third quarter, probably towards the end of third quarter. Right now, we're finalizing our pre-production version, which is right pretty close to what's going to go into the field. The frame is no longer aluminum. It's a carbon fiber frame, and we're really working and doing a lot of weather and environmental and UV testing on that frame right now. And as soon as we have that all refined so we can identify what a good warranty strategy is, as well as understand that we have the right durability level set for this vehicle for people to be able to use in the ag communities and the ranching communities. So it's durable, can handle the storms, the weather, the cold, the heat, whatever it needs. That's what we're focused on right now. But we have the formula for the most part figured out. It's tweaking, but it takes a long time to do that tweaking. So we have vehicles going in the field in April to play around. We got a couple of vineyards, ranches, and farms actually going to play around with them, and we'll be out there with them, working through all the issues to make sure we've got it ready. But we'll begin the production cycle while that's actually going on because a lot of things won't change. So we'll be ready to go and deliver 100 vehicles before the end of the year.
When will the next opportunities be for folks to check out in person?
So I don't have an exact date yet, but what we're hoping to do late spring is take a couple of these vehicles out and do some flying days. And we're really going to target the middle of the country, the west part of the country, and probably the north, the south, the northwest of the country, and take it out and do some days. And whoever signs up on our website, we'll get them an opportunity to be able to take it out for a spin. The other thing we're doing is we're starting to work with distribution channels to get local distributors to be able to sell this. So your farm machinery distributors, maybe some large equipment distributors in some of the areas where we have the highest concentration in the U.S. We're working in those areas right now. It doesn't mean you can't get it outside of those areas. It would just be a direct sale with us. But we're really trying to get some of the larger areas: Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, California, and some Nebraska, and some other states where there's heavy concentration, to really lean into those states to get sales rolling.
I'm getting a question about cost. Is that something that you have published or put out there in the public yet?
Yeah, so for the vehicle, 6 batteries, your charging station, and your tow package to be able to move it around. Not a trailer, but a hand tow package. It fits on any standard trailer. It's going to be $150,000, and that will come with the training and with service. Now there will be, through distributors, destination charges and configuration charges. There will also be a monthly service charge. I don't have what that number is yet. We're still working through contracts with carriers to be able to collect data so that your distributor can know, so when you're running, those 6 motors are all running independent. there is a threshold where, there's wiggle room. That thing can move. But if it starts going outside the bounds, we want to know it so we can get a distributor out there to tweak it and get it set right for you if there's any problems. So that LTE service will be an additional charge. It won't be a lot. It'll be maybe $20 or $30 a month for that service, but it'll be instrumental, especially in the first couple of years as part of the process.
Well, all this has come together seemingly quickly when you look at going from concept to where you are right now. When you step back and look at this, I mean, how amazed are you at where you've come? I mean, this is it puts you in Wright Brothers category here.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, my team, we developed an air taxi system, an all carbon fiber air taxi system starting in 2015. So we have more time on electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles than probably anybody else. And we were the first group to actually be certified for testing with the FAA with large manned ultralight aircraft. So we have a lot of expertise in this space. And taking it down to this level, the trick is, your weight to thrust ratio. So making sure that we had the right components to be able to get you that 25 minutes of flight time where you can go 10 miles out and 10 miles back is critical. And that's where the secret really is in the product. And we've got that all figured out. So it's really making sure that it works for our customer, the farmer right now. And we're still doing that. So I don't want to let anybody think, we've got it 100%. We're 95%, but the last 5% is the hardest 5%. So we want to make sure that any farmer in Nebraska or in North Dakota who wants to get this, it's ready for them. And we want to make sure that, it's American made. We will take pride in that. And we want to make sure that everybody who uses it gives it a thumbs up, because there is no tougher customer, more respectful customer, or more discerning customer than the American farmer. And we want to make sure we do right by them.
Well, if those folks want to know more about the RYSE Recon, where can they get more information?
They should go to our website at ryseaerotech.com. It's RYSEAEROTECH.com. And again, they can reserve a Recon there. They can read the specs, learn about it, and we'll be refreshing that website coming up real soon with some more details and information as we get closer to production.
Excellent. Well, Mick, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on Rural Strong Live, and I hope you'll come back and share some updates here as this thing continues to progress.
Well, I'm hoping I can get you in it for a test flight at the next Farm Progress show.
Excellent. Well, I'm all for it. Or we can catch one of these days here this summer. I'm about an hour and a half down the road from you where you sit right now. So
excellent. Yeah, we'll have to do it.
We'll go ahead and work something out. But again, Mick, thank you so much for your time. And I want to thank everybody who joined us here today and invite you to come back again next time when we convene here for Rural Strong Live. And in the meantime, I invite you to subscribe to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast, where each week we bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country, western swing, and bluegrass music. A new episode of Tractors and Troubadours is released each Friday, 52 weeks a year, and can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you download your podcasts. And I'd sure appreciate it if you subscribe, leave ratings and comments, and share the content with your friends so we can continue to grow this thing. You can also catch Tractors and Troubadours 3 times daily on Rural Strong Radio, which is our 24/7 streaming radio station found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app. It joins Mark Oppold's Bottom Line Report, Farmgate by Stu Ellis, and Roger McOwen's Ag Law and Tax Report in our daily ag programming lineup. And when we're not sharing ag intel with you, we've got the very best in traditional country music, western swing, and bluegrass music with a little bit of southern rock and inspirational music thrown in there for good measure. The station was created with the farmer and rancher in mind. We love to be a part of your workday. You can stream us wherever you go. Again, Rural Strong Radio can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app. We want to thank today's sponsors, Fastline.com and Economics by Nutrien. You can catch my friends from Fastline at the National Farm Machinery Show, which which is going to be held in Louisville, Kentucky, February 15th through the 18th. In the meantime, you can search their vast inventory of farm equipment at fastline.com. And while you're on your web browser, make sure to punch in nutrien.economics.com. That's EKONOMICS.com. There you're going to find a plethora of tools to help you make smarter, faster business decisions for your farm. And Catch the Dirt, an economics podcast production with senior agronomist Mike Howell, who comes on every week with some insights that's going to help you increase your yield and maximize your return on investment. You can hear The Dirt Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And again, you can hear excerpts weekly on tractors and troubadours. So thank you to the Fastline Marketing Group and Nutrien. We couldn't do it without the help of our great sponsors. And again, we want to say a special thank you to Mick Kowitz and RYSE Aero Technologies for checking in today, and remind you to check them out at RYSEaerotech.com. For Mick, it's Brent Adams. We'll see you next time on Rural Strong Live.